Well, hello there. How are you going today? Thanks for joining me. My name's Campbell, and it's time to take another walk through.
Can you hear that? That is the sound of a council or a government that does not want homeless people sleeping under this bridge. So we've been told that under this bridge there is probably the first example I've ever heard of. There it is. That is an audible anti-homeless device. Hostile architecture built in. So what they've done is installed some kind of device that is emitting a high-pitched buzzing noise, a shriek. It's really piercing. You can really, it's almost painful. And that's the whole fucking idea. That is the point. They want it to be painful for people who are thinking of coming and rolling out a sleeping bag or chucking a tent on the side of this bike path, as people famously did not too long ago in this very spot. They want it to be painful to do that. This noise is something completely different. I've never seen this. I've never even heard of this in any other city around the world. This is something that seems quite new and quite shocking, honestly. It's a noise that really, like, I can feel it in my legs. I've got goosebumps and sort of an unpleasant jarring sensation in my legs from this audio. It's very hard to tolerate this noise. That is precisely the point. They don't want people here. They want people out of the CBD. They want people out of the city. My skin's kind of crawling. It's a really unpleasant sensation. I don't know why the City of Perth Council or the state government or whoever it is who decided to install this think that that's the feeling you want to inspire in people walking through the city, riding through one of the main arteries along the train line.
Wow, frequency weapons against the homeless. Now that's from Perth. That was my hometown for 40 years. Crazy. And, of course they're going to use frequency weapons, right? And, it doesn't escape me that the cost of living is going through the roof, as Perth is one of the most expensive cities in Australia, and Australia is one of the most expensive countries in the world. It's really expensive to live there. So people are on the streets through no fault of their own, right? Just trying to survive. And this is what the government do, because they're just here to look after us, guys. They use all our tax money to help us, don't you know? That's absolutely disgraceful. Uh, oh my God. What do you think about that?
Is this where America's name really came from? Check it out. This is called Marmarica, Libya, Egypto, which is the Marmarica, Libya, and Egypt regions. This is a 1482 map, 10 years before our supposed Columbus had arrived. So is it possible that that was the real name? I mean, there's all the stories about possibly having Egypt in America and some of the possible ruins that could have been there. So this map is really interesting. This is before there was an Africa. I'm not sure if you knew that, but it wasn't always called Africa. It was known as the Libya, Ethiopia, and Egypt areas. And look how decked out Egypt is. This is before Cairo. And you have Babylon. Memphis is Memphi before they added the S to it. You still have Scythia people coming here, which I thought was really interesting. And it's all decked out with cities everywhere going down the Nile. Check it out. This is all old school stuff. Look, you got Aphrodite right here too. And then you have Ptolemy. I mean, that was an old Greek philosopher and has his own city. It's crazy. You just go all the way down through here. Found it really, really interesting. Comment, let me know your thoughts on this. Check it out. It was super cool. Here, I'll show you the entire area so you can see going across. And part of Libya Desert and did all the names. Anyways, as always, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for following. I find all this stuff very interesting. Remember to always stay curious. Always ask questions. Always question the narrative. Until next time, y'all.
Well, what caught my eye was the Nile River. It had a lot more tributaries and things to it, didn't it? Like it's today, it's pretty much the delta and then just one river. But yeah, that had tributaries, it had big circle bits in it, like that was a lot more water. And the name, what do you think? Maraca. What was it? Libya, Egypto. I was thinking it could be Mauritania. Mauritania is basically the west coast, like a very large region on the west coast of northern Africa. So it could be that. That's all that came to my head. Marika, I see where he's drawing, the inspiration from. The whole narrative of is America Egypt, right? Or was ancient Egypt in America, basically, and the Mississippi being the Nile. Because in America they've got Memphis, right? Tennessee, I think that's on the Mississippi, and they have quite a few other Egyptian, named towns. So there is, quite a bit to that little rabbit hole if you haven't been down there yet. But what it really points out is we just don't know. We don't know. We don't know anything about our history. We don't know where things happened. We don't know what towns and cities used to be called. Like it's all his story, right? It's all just a made up story. It's crazy. But I like old maps. And just looking at that map, you could see that the world was a different place back then. The Nile was different. It looked like there was a lot of towns around there. The top of Africa was pretty straight, looked like a different shape. So, the world of the past was definitely different than the world we find ourselves in today. But let me know, what do you think? Was America Egypt? Let me know your thoughts.
So are all those big hats in Catholicism actually hiding big, elongated alien heads? So I watched this crazy documentary last night, and they actually brought that fact up. That maybe the reason that cardinals and popes and all those guys wear those super long hats is they're hiding long alien heads. They have normal human faces, so they can pass like that. But what if they wore ceremonial large hats to hide the whole thing? So in the research I've done, the tall ceremonial hats worn by bishop and cardinals, it's been a part of Catholic tradition for roughly 1,000 years. It's a symbol of authority within the Catholic hierarchy. Or big long hats to tuck your xenomorph-shaped head into. You can look back at pictures of European royal families like the Habsburg and you can see all these long, elongated heads, but the Habsburgs were for a different reason. They were out there cousin banging. That's what was happening. And in some civilizations, they used to bound the skull when it was still soft to reshape it. I guess when you start thinking about it, if you're an alien race trying to run things quietly, religion would be a fantastic place to hide. But it does kind of get you thinking because we know the Vatican is hiding a whole bunch of shit in that library underneath it. So maybe they're hiding a whole bunch of stuff underneath those hats too, we just don't know. And remember, y'all, deep dives are coming to YouTube. Same name over there.
The big heads. Yeah, the elongated skulls. Homo Capensis. They've even got a name, right? Of course, the most famous ones are from South America, Peru. Is it Paracas? Paracas, I think it is. And they've got a museum there, and they've got some big skulls, man. Big. And he did mention the cranial binding that happens in Africa, and that's a different thing, right? That's binding. That's emulating something. So the question there is, why are they doing that? Who are they emulating? When you look at the actual proper Homo capensis skulls, they're in volume capacity. They are much, much bigger than our heads, and you don't change the capacity, the brain capacity, when you bind a head, right? A soft skull. Up at the Vatican. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? We just don't know. I do know that they're fish hats, the mitre that the Pope wears, and a lot of the bishops are fish hats. They're representing fish gods, Dagon, right, from Sumeria. So there's that as well. And of course, if you haven't checked out my podcast, Tartari Australia, we've done 7 parts now on basically the fish gods, right? What's going on with the ocean? What's really down there? What's coming out of it? Link below in the description, so go check it out. But what do you think? Is the Vatican hiding aliens?
About 5% of the elongated skulls that we find in Paracas are so complex in shape and size that it's hard to believe that they're the result of any form of cranial deformation.
The Paracas skulls defy human biology with their impossible shape and mysterious origin. Long dismissed as myth, they puzzled researchers for years.
Some initial DNA testing has been done, and the results, according to the geneticist, are quite startling. There were certain segments of the DNA that didn't match anything known to be human.
Until modern DNA testing revealed shocking results. What scientists discovered challenged everything we thought we knew about human history and evolution, exposing a truth so unsettling that it continues to spark debate and disbelief even today. The unsettling anatomy. To understand the shockwave the DNA results sent through the scientific community, we have to travel back in time, all the way to 1927, and return to the moment the sun-baked earth of the Peruvian desert first decided to give up its secrets. This wasn't some haphazard discovery. It was the careful work of a Peruvian archaeologist named Julio Tello. He was digging near the desolate, wind-swept Paracas Peninsula, an area that looked barren and empty. Tello and his team weren't prepared for what they were about to uncover beneath the scorching surface, a massive burial complex that was unlike anything seen before. It was a labyrinth of deep, precisely carved subterranean chambers that archaeologists call chulpars. Inside these stone-lined tombs, arranged with deliberate care, lay over 300 skulls. But these weren't ordinary human remains. They were strangely stretched and unnervingly elongated. They appeared to challenge the basic principles of human anatomy, instantly disrupting all the ideas scientists had about ancient peoples. The strange sights within the tombs made the mystery even more puzzling. Each skull had been tenderly wrapped in layer upon layer of exquisite textiles, woven with a craftsmanship that spoke of a highly advanced culture. They were buried not with crude tools, but with ceremonial blades and intricate jewelry, screaming of power and privilege. This wasn't the resting place of common villagers. This was clearly the elite class of a powerful, long-forgotten society.
Well, there you go. And yes, it was Paracas. Yeah, some of those skulls that they had one picture with hair on it. Like some of them have actually still got hair on them, and it's red hair. Okay, the rarest color on Earth. And the stories. Well, what I've found from my research is they were the ruling class, right? All the ones with the big elongated skulls were the ruling class in Peru, which is interesting. And I guess they were also, like priest type ruling class religion. What are they? Are they from somewhere else? Are they from outer lands? Are they from under the water? Are they another type of genetic experiment of some kind? Are they the fallen angels? What do you think they are? Because there's hundreds of these skulls, probably thousands. Definitely in Peru. They've found them in Russia. They've found them in Africa, the Middle East as well, I believe. Like a lot. And of course, that's the ones that we know about, right? Who knows how many the Smithsonian's got rid of. But let me know in the comments, what do you think they are? And while I've got you guys, thanks for spending some time with me. Hope you're enjoying it. Please give me a like if you're enjoying this content. Share it around, hype it up. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button.
Okay, this one is wild. So a newly unearthed elongated skull from Tula, Mexico was just professionally cleaned, and what's carved into it is unlike anything I've ever seen. Check this out. This particular footage was posted by a creator that goes by Light with Christie on IG and other platforms. And whether you think these artifacts are authentic or not, the details, specifically on this master skull are mind-bending. It's elongated, extremely densely decorated, covered in these high precision engravings. I mean, the most obvious is right on the frontal plate, where there's a symbol that looks eerily similar to the so-called microchip symbol carved onto the boogosphere. It's not identical, but definitely echoes the same, geometric vocabulary, the square core, the rotating arms, the symmetrical kind of pulses. And then you've got these winged motifs, you've got star maps, orbital paths, and what looks to be like a third eye or a seed pod symbol. These designs to me feel more technical in nature and not just decorative. So Tula's already a hotspot in Mesoamerican archaeology. It's where the Atlantean statues stand, those massive warrior figures some believe that represent star visitors or sky gods. And there's recent digs that are unearthing some mind-bending artifacts down there. They add a whole new layer to the mystery. I mean, if you haven't seen any, you can go check out Alien Carvings. He's got a ton of info up on these digs. But look, if these artifacts are replicas or kind of modern recreations, they still show where our collective imagination is. Let's just say even one of these pieces coming out of Tula is real, then we're looking at a civilization that has a message. It's a form of communication carved into this bone or stone. It's a record. And so the real question becomes, are we actually seeing pieces of an ancient story unfold and surface? Either way, this situation is worth paying attention to. I mean, especially as more info unfolds. I'll definitely keep you updated as it does. Wild.
What do you think, real or fake? Um, I mean, I don't know, right? I would probably err on the side of fake at the moment. But of course, guys, don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything you see or hear on the videos. It's just information for entertainment purposes only, right? And the whole point of this is to put the information out and to get you guys to come to your own conclusions, get your own perspective. So the reason I think that they're probably fake is because I've never seen or heard of them before. That was a very big skull, and I was talking about space aliens, and I don't believe in space. So, to me, it looks like something that could have been put out because, like you showed, there was a symbol there that was the same as what they found on the spheres. What were they called? The dinospheres or something, which is supposed to be alien, right? Space alien technology. So it's clearly linked to that. So just because of that, I would err on the side that it's probably not real, just because it looks like something else, because there's just such a big agenda at the moment for the space aliens, right? They're getting ready for their blue beam project, right? But yeah, but like I said, I don't know. Like I'm not saying it's definitely fake or it's definitely not because I don't know. But let me know what you think, real or fake. Also with these skulls, they're everywhere. I was just thinking, if you look into the pictures, ancient Egypt, Nefertiti, people like that, elongated skulls, right? Look at the statue of her head. It's a massive elongated skull. There's lots of pictures of her children, one of which was Tutankhamun, right? And they're all elongated skulls. And again, they're the royalty, they're the ruling class, as they were in Peru. So, what are these? What are these beings? Who were they? Are they still here? You can check out the Rothschilds. They have, heads not as big as that, but they look like they got kind of big heads, right? So what, do they still walk among us? And maybe the ones with the really big heads are just kept out of sight these days. So we don't see them, right? We even had that movie back in the 90s, right? Coneheads. So what are they trying to tell us?
Celebrities who turn satanic for fame.
I thought that last one had joined Kiss. Yeah, I mean, we see this everywhere, right? And Kiss, they were one of the originals, right? Remember, like Paul was the star. Hello, the star, the fallen stars, the stars, right? Hollywood, all that kind of stuff. Gene Simmons was the dragon, right? Interesting. And they're still going. But yeah, I mean, these days it's a lot more in our face with the way they dress and the whole ritual aspect of their performances. But it's definitely been going a long time. You know, you could point your finger at many of the heavy metal bands. Obviously, that's where the demon horn symbol came from. That's basically what everyone's told it represents is just heavy metal, rock music. I don't know. Do you think it's that, or do you think it's devil horns? You know, Ozzy Osbourne did some weird stuff. He wrote a song called Mr. Crowley. It's about Aleister Crowley. And you know, there's you know the reverse when you reverse the words in like the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and all these, you know, there's a lot of weird stuff, right? Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin bought Aleister Crowley's house. So there's a lot of ties, right? You're looking at Tavistock and Laurel Canyon, places like that. You know, the whole 60s, 50s, 70s, all of music has been controlled. And it definitely does have a bit of a satanic input to it, right? And now to the point where it's not even real music anymore. There's no musicians left. It's all auto-tuned, so it's fake voices, it's all synthesized music, and it's all put out to us at 440 hertz. So it's not good. But what do you think? Is it all just showmanship, or is there something more nefarious going on?
Massive news coming out of Israel in the past 24 hours. You've had Ben Gavir get his home struck and he is in critical condition. They don't know if he's going to survive or not. Then you had Netanyahu's family compound struck. His brother is now dead. And then Smotrich, his son was just murked in Lebanon. This is absolutely insane. Israel is getting pummeled by Iran. Iran is getting smart intel from both China and Russia, and they now have missiles that can hit on a pinpoint accuracy style missile. This is crazy. We were doing regime change in Iran, and Iran said, guess what? We can do regime change too.
They struck the home of Ben Gavir. He is seriously wounded, may not survive. Iran is going to start to take out the totality of Israel's leadership. This is the reality of this conflict. Israel played the regime change game. It's going to be the Israelis that are going to be paying the highest price. The Iranians are no longer wearing kid gloves. They've taken them off and they're coming in bare knuckle.
Wow. I mean, yeah, what is going on in the Middle East? I mean, we don't know, right? But I mean, going off that, sounds like the Izzy country, old Benny boy and his boys, they seem to be losing. Right? They seem to be losing. I did a video a few days back, last week, showing all these sort of reports from around the world that was giving a different story to what we get here, you know, in Australia, America, UK, from our Reuters media, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, look, all the stuff I've seen, that's what it's looking like for me, is that Benny's country, we'll call it that, the Izzy country, is getting hammered, right? They've taken out like some really strategic points. They've destroyed what was it, the Iron Dome, so that's not working anymore. They've taken out a lot of the bases. They've really hit strategic points and really caused a lot of problems for Izzy. And yeah, there's reports that Benny himself is not around anymore. As we heard in there, his brother's now gone. You know, all these high-ranking officials and nothing, not a peep, right, from the Western media. And of course, that they're just there by themselves now. Like, there's not much American defense there for them that I've heard of. There was, I think I heard about a Navy ship that got hit, got a missile flown into it, or you know, underwatered into it, an American ship. But I haven't heard of a lot of American, you know, military force going there to defend Izzy. And so Izzy finds itself in the middle of this region, surrounded by people that it has harassed and bombed and meddled with their affairs for decades, ever since it was created in the 50s, right? It's just been harassing everyone, and of course the whole Gaza story. And now everyone seems to be throwing things back, right? They've had enough. And that puts Izzy in a very bad situation, which, you know, in my opinion, is not a bad thing. I don't want anyone to be, unalived or hurt or any of this, any of the people, the men and women. But as far as the ones at the top who are, doing what they're told, right, but they're still running the agenda, they need to go. Like that, they are evil, evil people who are doing everything they can from us to weaken us, to poison us, to create wars and unalive us. All of this, destroy everything that we're about. So it's time for them to go. And what a start to 2026. A lot of us had the idea it was going to be a big one, and it's definitely not disappointing.
Quick update of important things you need to know about. Iran's security chief issued this statement and warning. Quote, I've heard the remaining members of Epstein's network have devised a conspiracy to create an incident similar to and blame Iran for it. Iran fundamentally opposes such terrorist schemes and has no war with the American people. We are defending our country against aggression launched by the US, and Iran stands tall in doing so in order to teach the aggressors a lesson. Iran says the Strait of Hormuz is open to all countries except the US, and Japan's prime minister are set to join President Trump's Golden Dome missile defense system, with Japan potentially supplying missiles amid global conflicts. Pakistan has joined Iraq, Iran, and Mexico in burning an effigy of Baal. The U.S. State Department is offering rewards up to $10 million for information on IRGC key leaders. The IRGC warns people across the Gulf to evacuate areas near oil ports. A drone crashed into the U.S. Embassy in Dubai. The Foundation has sent 2 Phantom Mk1 robots to Ukraine in February for frontline testing. The company has $24 million in United States military contracts. Switzerland has closed its airspace to U.S. military flights directly related to the war against Iran. If you didn't see, the U.S. launched heavy strikes on Kargay Island, which is Iran's most critical oil export hub. Kargay Island is consistently described as handling around 90% of Iran's crude oil exports. Trump said the strikes had totally demolished Kargay Island, but added that the U.S. may hit it a few more times just for fun. Over 500,000 acres of land have burned in just a few days in Nebraska. If you're here, stay safe.
Well, there we go. Even more perspectives, right? Yeah, like at the end, he said that, the US have bombed and effectively stopped the oil production, or at least export, right, for Iran. I haven't heard of that one, but that could be true, right? And that's kind of a different narrative again, right? Than is he losing? But I mean, was that in retaliation? Uh, and why are they doing that? That's obviously to cripple the economy of the country, right? And probably, to take over the island so that they can control it. Because I'm sure that's a side thing of this war is they do want to control the oil. They definitely don't want an Islamic State becoming rich off the oil, do they? They want to control it. But, when you start wars, those countries are allowed to defend themselves, right? And war is not a human thing. It's not a creation of men and women. It's a creation of the invaders, right? The Elites, the people of El, who is basically Baal, right? And you just heard there's 3 countries that have burnt effigies of Baal. So what do they know is going on in the background, right? So, this is framed as a religious war as well, but I mean, it could just be a war of good against evil if they're burning effigies of Baal, right? And we all may be on the wrong team, you know, because Western countries do tend to stomp around, right? I'm Australian, obviously not from America, but especially America, right? It's gone in and changed a lot of leaderships, the governments in countries. It's done it so many times. It's started so many wars, and also, the UN and European countries, they're all involved. All the leaders are the same, and that's who it is, the leaders. It's not the people. So none of this is, that I'm saying is against the people of America or Iran or Israel or anywhere. because it's all the people in control that are doing this and sending us, men and women, to do their dirty work, right? And throw bombs at each other. So, yeah, sad state of affairs, war, but like I said, it's been a big start to the year, and it seems like there's a lot of change going on. And yeah, so let me know in the comments, how's your 2026 been? Have you noticed lots of things changing fast, like in your life? Because I definitely have.
The highest form of intelligence isn't IQ, it isn't logic, it isn't memory or speed. According to neuroscientists, the rarest intelligence is something entirely different. Most people never develop it, and those who do quietly outgrow everyone around them. The highest form of intelligence is metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking, not reacting blindly, not running on autopilot, but observing your mind in real time. It means noticing your thoughts, questioning your reactions, interrupting emotional reflexes, and updating beliefs instead of defending them. Every time you say, wait, why did I react like that? Your brain starts changing. Neuroscientists found that when you observe your own thoughts, a region called the anterior prefrontal cortex activates. This region isn't for action, it isn't for emotion, it's for self-observation. Your brain literally turns its attention inward. Most people run their mental software automatically. Metacognition is different. It's like a computer that can edit its own programs while running. That's why self-aware people evolve so much faster than anyone else. This isn't some kind of mindset's wacko fluff. It's a neuroelectric remodeling. Awareness edits the file system. And most people never develop this because metacognition is extremely uncomfortable. It requires pausing instead of reacting, questioning instead of defending, and watching yourself fail honestly. And your ego hates this. But growth requires it.
Well, there you go. That's in a song, isn't it? Getting tired about thinking about thinking. Have you ever done it? Have you ever thought about your thoughts? Have you been thinking about what you've been thinking? If do you ask yourself, why did I get that thought? Where did that come from? What does that really mean? What if that's true? What if that's not true? Am I just being led down the garden path? Like, thinking about your thinking. And I'm definitely not trying to say I'm intelligent or anything like that. But it's definitely I definitely think about my thinking and why am I thinking this and what does it really mean and trying to get to different perspectives, I guess. Uh, yeah, that's just I guess I thought everyone does that, and I'm sure that most of you out there do it. It's probably just the general public, right? The normies that don't because they just think about TV and work, I think. But yeah, let me know. Are you a deep thinker? Do you think about your thoughts? Do you wonder why you have them? Do you, question yourself? Are you right? Maybe are you wrong? That's an even better question, right? How could I be wrong? Which things point out to me that I might be wrong? These are good questions, right? Because it just helps you gain better perspective. But, thinking in general is good. But yeah, thinking about what you're thinking is better. And of course, guys, you should all be autodidactic. Autodidactic means to be self-educated, and that's what all these videos are about. They're just about putting some information out that we're getting, beamed into our brains from the outside world, and just seeing it for the information it is. Not getting attached to it, not getting, emotions and emotional over it, or scared or into fear or anything like that. This is not about fear. It's about being prepared, not scared, right? Know thy enemy, right? And the enemy is really the information, right? If you let it in your head too much and you let it take over and you react instead of act, then it will affect you in an adverse way. So it's much better to just take it in, don't get emotion involved, and just come to your own perspective as you collect more information, right? And a lot of this stuff that's going on in the world, like the war and that, if it's not directly affecting you, don't get emotionally involved and fearful about it because it's not going to do anything to help the situation and it's going to make your situation worse. If you're in the place that you can do something and you have the ability to help, then of course do that. But if you can't, It's not your experience, right? It's only the TV that's making you think it's your experience. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed that one, guys. Please do give me a like. Leave me a comment. Let me know, what did you think about all these videos? What did you think about my commentary? Am I full of crap? Let me know. I could be. And yeah, obviously, if you're not subscribed, what the bloody hell are you doing? Hit the subscribe button. Share the video around, all that kind of stuff. Hype it up. And of course, keep learning, keep your mind open, and stay awesome, because you are. And I'll talk to you on the next upload. Bye for now.
Miles, what are you doing? Norman, here. Talk to me. Oh.
Es rappelt im Karton.